Yo, what's good? Back with another video. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna get straight into it. I did not know the Zero was a 3-speed. You know what that means, right? He's more reliable. And I'm not gonna say, well, speed doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Speed in Siege means everything. Well, not everything, but mostly everything. And I'm not gonna sit here and lollygag about why it's better because he's a 3-speed. We all know why he's better because he's 3-speed. Anyways, he is so underrated. That's the biggest factor I've noticed in like a lot of players who don't use him. He's underrated. People don't really like to use him because his gadget takes forever. It shoots weird, and then the reload mechanism is so bad. Like you just like, everything is bad with Zero, but he's not bad because he's a 3-speed. And I believe him being a 3-speed cancels everything bad about him. And me being me, there's a lot to say, a lot. But the only thing that I'm not gonna sit here and talk about is him. Like he's more of a support operator. I feel like the 3-speed does kind of give him a push to like honestly like get in the building faster. But him being a 3-speed and him having intel and then him having the gadget that can also zap things and ping, yellow ping. It can go anywhere you want it to. I kind of look at Zero as in the support operator type, post plant type, bomb is trying to get down, but everyone is scattered around type player or operator. I mean, post plant for sure. Post plant, you can just hold angles and you just have cameras around the bomb and whatnot, and that's why I say he really support. But of course, he's intel because he has camera. There's nothing that you can take away from him besides his cameras. So that just gives away the support idea. But really and truly, I actually do feel like he should be used more. And it's not like, oh, he needs attention. He has attention. He definitely does. But it's the attention he doesn't really. How could I say this? It's like he gets the attention, but it's the attention from the people who really don't know how to use him. I'm not gonna lie. Like when Zero came out, people used to use Zero only because of Zero. Zero, and then that's when they had buffed his weapon. His weapon became crazy good, and then he had changed up his camera development, so that came out better. But really and truly, with Zero, I honestly believe if he was used more by the right people, he would be broken. And I'm not gonna say, well, you can't discard all the other people who use Zero because that just makes them bad. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if better people, like better players, use Zero, he would be OP. And I'm not saying that it takes skill. I'm just saying that this nigga Zero is OP as fuck. Not only because he's a 3-speed, because he's a 3-speed. That's just what I gotta say to that, bro. And really and truly, all I'm here to say is Zero is going to be new meta. I'm not saying that he isn't now. I'm not gonna lie, he isn't kind of new meta. He's only used when it's like, I'm not gonna lie, he's only used with the bad people. I've not seen not one decent player use Zero when I've played Siege. Sorry, I had a burp, but it wouldn't come out. But anyways, I feel like he's only used by the players who are mediocre and the players who don't really play the game like that. So other than that, if he gets in the hands of a good Siege player, he'll be broken. And I'm not saying that because if a good player used him, would they buff him? Would they nerf him? No, it's just it will be a good thing to see because again, bro, especially with Cali, bro, the only player I've ever seen use Cali was King George. That's it. There's no other person that uses Cali but him, for the most part. But when it comes to Zero being one of the operators that literally get a buff during this season, I don't see much people using him, and they only use him just to talk about how he's a 3-speed, and that's it. But other than that, though, people forget how reliable he is, bro. He literally has 5 to 6 cameras, and they can go through reinforced walls. They can do all types of things that a normal player can't. So when it comes to Zero, I strongly believe he needs to be played more. And like I said from the jump, he's not the type of player that you would pick typically, but normally when you're playing with randoms, he's a player you would see more often. Me personally, I use Zero, not even in certain scenarios. I just use him because I just use him, but there's no exact reason why I use him. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, though, he's really good. His gun has no recoil. So let's talk weapons. His weapon literally has no recoil. His MP7 and his, I think what his X200 is what it was called. They both have no recoil. And the MP7 being a defender weapon is a big deal. I'm not gonna lie. There's no other operator that has a defender's weapon. Let me think about that. Minus the shotguns. Yeah, there's no other weapon that they have. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't even put it into words how good he is. I mean, you literally can, but he's he's something that you don't speak on too much because it's Zero. You know, like in my opinion, it's Zero. Like there's nothing you can say about Zero that no one doesn't know. You know, like the only thing he got new was the 3-speed, and then also him having easier access to his, ability. That's about it. Other than that, he has breach charges and he has claymores. His breach charges are so useful because let's just say he needs help with getting wall. He doesn't. He's Zero. He can shoot his camera somewhere. He can zap the bandit battery charge, get the wall by himself. He's literally his own breach, his own support, literally. So when I say it's not really on intel and support, well, I don't lie. His bio probably does say support and intel, but I honestly do see him as intel. No, I'm support. Wait, what? I do see him as support more than intel because he can take out gadgets and also give away intel. I feel like the intel he gives is so like, well, kind of like Valkyrie in a way, but minus having more cameras. But I'm not gonna lie, like him having like all those cameras and what it could do, I think support fits him more than intel, even though he literally has cameras. But I don't know. But other than that, though, his pistol is good. His Gun 6 is good. I never understood why he has a Gun 6. I feel like the Gun 6 is a bit of a stretch, only because he's not really the type to make entry. Like, there's no type of entry he can do minus with, like, a castle barricade, Gun 6 the barricade, and you just have your cameras fly in, But other than that, I feel like, I don't know. Him having a Gun 6, you better remove that shit from him, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But other than that, though, I feel like Zero's pretty tough. Bro's tough. Now, speaking about Zero, there's a lot of things you can talk about. There's... is there any cons about Zero? The only con I have about him is just his gadget takes some time to, react. It takes time for his gadget to actually, reactivate. It takes time to adjust to shoot one little needle into a wall. I'm not gonna lie, bro, because the aim on this shit is crazy, But other than that, there's no other cons I see about Zero. He has a good loadout. The Gun 6 needs to go. There's nothing that he can do with that Gun 6, me personally. Other than that, though, Zero being Zero is pretty good. I honestly do prefer his X20, right, it's called? But his MP7 is pretty good. But other than that, though, just nothing wrong with Zero. The only thing I say with Zero is, you have to be patient with him, bro. Be real patient. Because you have to realize there's a lot of ways that the enemy can know that it's a Zero cam near them. When you shoot it, they can literally follow it, trace it as you shoot it, and then boom, it's right there. That's one. Two, when you ping too much, they can see the little green light or whatever light they have on as, you know, their color banner, and to see that reflection. And there's another way to counter him is obviously mute, but always also like just looking for anything that looks out of the ordinary, you know? So it's like, it's not really that hard to find zero cams. It's just that you just can't use zero like you're a fucking Valkyrie. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, like always, have fun. GG's.